My friend Scott Middlebrook from the Mississippi Department of Corrections is a superintendent at Parchman. Thank you for being on today, Mr.
Thank
Middlebrook.
you, Mr. Vega. It's a pleasure to be here.
Warden, would you be able to tell us on this journey of you're dealing with incarcerated individuals for many years, your perspective and hope for continual change within the Department of Corrections and lives?
Absolutely. As I look back on my career, 39 years in corrections and been a superintendent at 9 different locations and for 22 years, um, I think the biggest changes I've seen in prisons was a result of, of uh, bringing Christ into our prisons. And that's where I saw the biggest difference and the biggest change in men's lives at the prisons that I've been to and been over. And so, in my interactions with Christmas behind bars has been uh, nothing short of spectacular. And the change that I've seen in my populations as a result of the good-hearted deeds of your organization and the people who sponsor it, and it was just been amazing. And so, through my years, I've seen the transformation going from controlling prisons or inmates to managing inmates. And what I found is uh, we're a lot more successful if we manage our population versus trying to control them. We have less staff, inmate on staff assaults. We have less inmate on inmate assaults. Uh, and so it's just that's the biggest change I've seen in my career is the mentality and the philosophies of agencies on the best way um, to manage your prisons, to reduce the violence, um, to encourage residents to better themselves and turn a negative situation into a positive. And and so through acts uh, such as the bags that Christmas Behind Bars provide, that encourages them, and it shows them that there's people out there in the
Oh,
free world that cares about them, and so they want them uh, to do the right thing, uh, pay their debt to society. All our offenders have been, it isn't our responsibility to punish inmates. It's our responsibility to ensure they follow the rules and regulations set forth by our agency. The judge punishes the inmates when they sentence them to a term of incarceration. So, but while we have them,
right.
it's imperative that we do our best to change their lives so that when they do get out, because 85 to 90% of our offenders are going to return to the communities. It's imperative that
Mm.
we um, prepare them so they can be a productive citizen when they get back out. And the way you do that is how you treat them.
Amen.
And if you treat them in a negative manner, and you don't offer programs, and you don't try to change their life while they're incarcerated, then oftentimes they go back out and just return to our prisons. And we've got to stop. We've got to kind of turn the leak off, as I say, and do our best to, so once they do leave, that they're a better person. They paid their debt, and now they're going to go out and be a productive citizen out there in our communities.
Amen. I agree 100%. And programs can't happen without the administration, superintendent, and then it takes a lot of work to bring programs into a maximum secure facility. And so we thank you for that. And I just want to let you know, 4,000 young people converged on Columbus, Ohio after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, and they put together 8,000 packages, Warden. And brother, those 8,000 packages, every one was distributed starting with your facility, and then you made many calls, and the rest of them were distributed in the state of Mississippi. So 4,000 young people gathered in Columbus, made 8,000 packages for the residents at the Department of Corrections in Mississippi. So that is a beautiful thing.
Oh, that's truly amazing. It's truly amazing. And I hope these young people understand the impact that they had preparing those bags for our residents. So, and the impact that they had on our residents when they received them, because it's amazing. I still get, every periodically the guys will see me and say, "Hey, superintendent, when are we getting our next bag?" And they appreciate it. And I make
Amen.
sure I inform them and let them know where these bags came from, because that's important. They appreciate, the items in the bag.
Yeah.
But I think more than that, they appreciate that somebody took time out of their life, to do something positive to impact them. And they appreciate that. So my hat's off to you and your organization.
You gave me a tour of your facility, and that was the first time I've ever been put in a vehicle, taken around, and showing the whole. How many acres do you
18,000
have?
acres.
18,000 acres. So you put me in your pickup truck and you went and showed me all the programs, or some of the programs and things that you do. But then we ended up at the chapel, and that just touched my heart beyond compare. Would you share a little bit about what happened that day in the chapel before I left your prison after distributing the packages?
Absolutely. So we actually had some individuals in there, some young students. I think they were anywhere from 14 to 17 years old, and I'm not going to say they were at risk students, but I think they had been in a little bit of trouble in their school, and the administration felt it would benefit them to maybe come to our prison and have some of our offenders talk to them, to try to guide them, and let them know that, hey, you know they were in the same shoes as those young kids uh, back in the day, and many of them now have been incarcerated 30 or 40 years. And so that it provided an opportunity for them, for our offenders, to talk to these young adults and let them know that, hey, it's serious, it's real, and you know they didn't want them to follow down the path that they went. And so they were trying to give back to these young adults, and talk to them, to encourage them to do the right thing, stay in school, make good grades, leave the drugs alone, that kind of stuff. And so, and I think it was impactful. And the I think the talk you gave them was really truly impactful. So I was impressed listening to your impromptu speech to them, or talk to them. So uh, again, my hats off to you.
It was a joy to me that your facility would allow young people to come in, and then the residents, some of them, one resident said, "Hey, I used to be 14 years old. I think he'd been
Yes,
incarcerated 30 or 40 years. It was a long time." And so he just shared with them that now this is the crossroads. And then our warden at that time, you're the superintendent now, but the warden at that time, he got up and talked to them young people from the heart. And to have a warden come up and say that was phenomenal. And then here's what he did. He told the young people, said, "I'm going to leave my cell phone number on the back table. If ever you're at a crossroads and you want to call me, here's my cell phone number." He said, "I would rather hire you to work in this prison than incarcerate you." And so that was such a blessing. We thank you for the partnership we've had together. We look forward to it continuing
absolutely,
as well.
absolutely.
In closing, what would you share with the families who maybe their loved ones have went off to prison? That what would you share with the family members that's waiting for their loved ones to
So
come home?
oftentimes we don't think about the families. We think about the incarcerated, but we don't think about the family members that are back home, worrying sick about their loved one, and are they safe? Are they
Right.
eating good? What are they doing? Are they being protected? I try to answer every call that I can when I have family members call me and ask me to look in on, do a welfare check on one of their loved ones, or um, and so I just remember back. My son was in the military, and he got a DUI one weekend in Texas. And if you know Texas, they don't play in Texas. And they took him to jail. And so I guess he thought because I was a prison, his father was a prison warden, that he was going to get the highway patrolman to call me, and I was going to try to talk him out of it. But it did. When the highway patrolman called me and told me he had my son under arrest for DUI, I thanked the officer for getting him off the highway and not and before he could kill himself, or even worse, somebody else. And so I don't know if my son appreciated that. I think he did later on in life, but he didn't at the time. And so,
Right.
but I just remember my wife was a nervous wreck, and he was only in jail for 2 days, and she was a nervous
Right.
wreck, and I'll never forget that. And so I always remember that when parents or loved ones call me about our guys that are incarcerated, and I try my best to put their mind at ease and let them know we're taking care of them, we're going to protect them, we're going to keep them safe. And so I empathize with the family, because essentially, although
Amen.
the offender is the one doing the time, the parents do part of the time
Hmm.
also. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. They're thinking of just the individual
Parents
that's
and
in prison.
children.
But the parents, the loved ones, the family, they go through a lot having someone locked up in their family. So,
Well, I thank you for doing this interview because you couldn't make the miles because you just got promoted to superintendent
yeah.
at this prison. So, congratulations on that. I have two thoughts in closing. One thought is I would like you to speak to the incarcerated individuals around the world with a hope of encouragement on this. And then also, I'd like you to share with us a little sneak preview of what the packages, what it was like that day you went around and handed them all out. So let's talk about the packages first,
Well,
and then we'll
the
close with your thought to the
the
incarcerated
packages
individuals.
were amazing. I mean, if you want to see 100% of our population in a good mood, be present when you're passing out these packages, because even the ones that are the
Good.
grumpiest and in the worst mood are very thankful and appreciative and smiling. And it's like kids at Christmas time. And so
Good.
it's certainly a good thing, good uh, uh, title, having being Christmas behind bars, because it is Christmas for them,
Oh,
and they appreciate it
amen.
so much. They really do. And so God bless you for doing that,
Good.
and God bless you for having that passion in your heart to help others.
Thank you, Warden. Talk to the folk that's sitting in that cell somewhere today wondering whether they should hold on or whether there's hope for their life in closing.
So what I tell my guys here, and I send out at least once a week positive words of encouragement on our tablets,
Oh,
so all the offenders get it. And that is, it's the old adage, keep hope alive. We don't know what the future holds for us. And God has a plan for everybody. Everybody has a purpose, and that's what I tell them. And so their purpose may be to be locked up. It may be to die in prison. But if they find God and they'll walk in God's light, then that's their purpose, and that's why God is allowed them to be in the situation they're in. And that's what I tell them. And then I've had individuals that, I think the longest one had been incarcerated 47 years. And I'll never forget, one day he came to me and said, "Hey, my canteen account's frozen. Can you check on it for me, Warden?" And when I did, they said, "Well, we don't know why they froze it, unless they do that often when they're looking at paroling them." And so, lo and behold, 2 months later, he was paroled, and he's currently a free man. And he happened to have served I think it was 35 years here at Parchman. And so this was when I was at Wilkinson, is where he got released from. But I'm in communication with him. I'm in contact with him. We talk. He wants to come out here and talk to the guys and give them a word of encouragement, because he had a life sentence and he didn't think he was ever getting out of prison. And you think you've done 47 years. He was scared to death, because he said, think about it. When I went to prison, we had to pay, for our gas, we had to go inside the store to pay. There wasn't no such thing as paying at the pump. I mean, just little things like that we all take for granted nowadays. Those guys were they were just very reluctant and unsure of, are they going to be able to make it. I'm proud to say he's doing well, and he's working in horticulture, which is a trade that he received while he was in prison. And so he's doing good, and we're proud of him, and I can't wait to get him to Parchman to talk to some of these guys that are in the shoes he was in at one time.
Well, Warden, what I'm thinking of right now, it would be awesome if we could connect, and as the sponsors are willing to help this ministry, we would like to get packages coming your way. Maybe he could come and help pass out the packages at the same time as talk to the folks. So
Boy,
God bless you.
That would be a answer to a prayer, because he was actually at Wilkinson and was on the recipient end when we passed out bags then. So
Okay,
what a beautiful thing if I could get him over here and invite him back and let him actually hand out some packages in the future. So we're all
praise the
for
Lord.
that.
And I do want to say thank you for getting the connections to where the Angola prison got approved, because you picked up the phone and you called your warden and Governor Burl Cain, right?
Commissioner Burl Cain.
Commissioner. So you called your warden and commissioner, who was at Angola that very day, and here they said yes. And so the Lord has used people in high places. We give him the honor and glory, but thank you for being
Amen.
part of this program.
Amen. Thank you. It's a pleasure and a privilege.